Here with head volleyball coach at UVA Wise, Alyssa Hanley, getting ready for the final week of the regular season, a homestand of sorts for you guys. You have 3 home matches this weekend, starting tonight with Lincoln Memorial, and then a match on Thursday and Friday to end the season. We haven't spoken since the last 2 matches, most recently a loss on the road to Limestone. Before that, a 5-set heartbreaking loss to Emory and Henry, the only school in Virginia in the SAC, the rivalry matchup. There was some chatter back and forth. The intensity of that match was just off the charts. Let's start there. Obviously not the result you guys wanted in the win column. I have to imagine you were at least happy with some of the statistical performance. You had 8 different players reach 11 different career highs. Kaylee Scarce had 23 kills, the best she has had in her 3 years here, and 3 unbelievable years she's had. Despite the loss, had to be kind of a promising performance for your team.
Yeah, I think before Emory and Henry, we were missing Cassie Farley for a while. That was unfortunate for us, and I think we struggled to kind of work through that change in our lineup and in our personnel and our team. But it was good that we got her back that day. I think that kind of raised morale on the team and just made us that much more excited to play Emory. Like you said, they are our rivals, so it's always going to be a high emotional game. So we were just trying to keep that under control. But yeah, I mean, I think we were shooting on all cylinders. We had a lot of people get career highs, and statistically, we did what we were supposed to do. You look at the stats between us and Emory, it looks like we should have won that game. The unfortunate truth is, the 2 sets that we beat them in, we beat them by a lot. And the other 3, we lost by 2 or 3 points. So it makes sense why the stats look the way they do. It was just a difference of, an unforced error in each of those 3 sets. So, but, unfortunate to get the loss, but I think it was a corner that we were waiting to turn. So.
And, kind of referring to what you just mentioned about losing those 3 sets, all of them were close, 2 of them by 2 points, the final set by 3 points. You and I talked privately after the game about, Cassie's the only senior on this team. This is a young team. And you're just in your 2nd year here. Everybody's trying to learn how to have success and win. What was your message, and what has kind of been the overall message this season in finding ways to win those close sets and learning from when you don't?
Yeah, I think we are still, like you said, a young team. And last year, while we did better, we weren't still in every single set. And this year, I think that's been a change for us to in most sets, we're very close. I mean, within 5 points. And so I think that's just new for us, and learning how to handle that pressure. Where last year, maybe that pressure's not there. We're not even close. So this year being, oh my gosh, we're 2 or 3 points away. How do we handle that? And I think we still haven't quite figured that out. At moments we do, and at other moments we let the pressure get to us. So just conversations about how to deal with that. At times we talk about just not even looking at the score, and that can be hard to do, especially when you have people around you kind of talking about it and screaming about it. When it's the end of a set, but just kind of focusing on being in the moment and don't think about anything else. You just do your job and be confident about it. So those are the kind of conversations that we have about working through those moments.
Well, I'm sure it's not easy when the announcer, myself, is just a few feet away at the table mentioning the score every few points. But you mentioned Cassie Farley is back. Super happy to just have her back, with the team and being at practice and in these matches. And she was excited to play again. What benefit obviously there's a huge benefit to having Cassie Farley in your lineup and on your roster and playing. But what don't we see in the box score that she brings, being the only senior on this team, and maybe sort of handling those frustrations of losing some of those close sets and close matches like we talked about?
She adds such a huge piece to us as far as leadership goes. Like you mentioned, she is the only senior. She is our only captain. We do have a leadership team, but she's our only actual captain. And she adds so much value to us in that category. She does physically, but I would almost argue to say she adds more value in her leadership. That piece is so important to us and our success. And so when she was gone, it was hard. It was like, who's going to fill those shoes? And it had to happen immediately. So everybody's kind of looking around like, who's going to do it? Should it be me? I don't know if it should be somebody else. And so we've been working through that. It definitely has not been perfect. A lot of conversations with our leadership team about what we can do to kind of fill that role while she's gone. But she adds so much value. So for us to have her back now, we've already seen a difference. And I think we saw that in our game against Emory. I think everybody just felt like we could kind of take a breath, like we had that piece back that we were missing, which speaks volumes about her and what she's done for this program. But the good piece of that was, next year we might not have her. So who's going to kind of fill that role? And so we got to kind of look at that and who can kind of start working towards that. So yeah, she's super valuable, and hoping I can convince her to come back next year.
And she will at least celebrate senior night this Friday in your final home match of the season. The decision remains in the balance, and we will find out from her whenever she is ready to make that decision. For those that remember and have been following all season, it feels like when Cassie first went out, it was at a very crucial point in the season, early October, middle of conference play. The first match that you guys played without her was against this Lincoln Memorial team that you'll face tonight. Obviously, that match is one that you asterisk as like the first one trying to learn how to win without her. But what do you remember about that Lincoln Memorial team? And what do you remember about that match that you're trying to use tonight to your advantage?
Ooh, that match was rough. I think our heads were still spinning. I mean, it was so quickly after learning that we weren't going to have Cassie. And if I remember right, we may have not had Riley Brandon either that match. It's been a minute. So, but I think that's right. And those are two big pieces of our offense and our defense. So yeah, a lot of last minute adjustments playing Lincoln Memorial. Our serve and pass game was really off then. Not sure exactly why. It's not usually. And our blocking was not where it needed to be, kind of threw off our defense. So between the serve and pass game, not doing well in that category, we couldn't get our offense going. Blocking wise, kind of messed up our defense. You can kind of see why we didn't do so well against Lincoln Memorial, but I'm actually really excited to play them again because our team looks totally different than that. And looking back at the set scores, I mean, they were all pretty close. We took a set off of them. So I think if we can do that with missing those two pieces, we should be able to get the win tonight.
And this is a Lincoln Memorial team that's pretty similar to you guys, both in just wins and losses, and kind of they have a second-year head coach in Chris Phillips as well. The one main difference that stands out, you guys are best in the conference in serve receive, least amount of serve receive errors this year. Lincoln Memorial's dead last. Is that something you're looking at as kind of an advantage for tonight?
Absolutely. We worked a lot yesterday. I mean, unfortunately, we only had one practice before this game, but we worked a lot in the serve and pass game, focusing on serving aggressive, but also taking your time at the service line. You get 8 seconds. So take your time, find your spot, be disciplined with your serve. But also on our side with the passing game, they served decently well. So we got to make sure that we're on point with our serve receive. But yeah, we will for sure pick on their serve receive as much as we can. So we might see a few more errors in our service game tonight, but as long as we're being aggressive, I'm okay with that.
Well, good luck to you tonight, Alyssa. Thank you so much. For those at home, if you want to catch it in person, it's at the Pryor Center at 7 p.m. or on Flow Sports. We'll be live at 6:50. Alyssa, thanks.